Howdy ho, and happy holidays, and welcome back to Articulate with Steve McJones. And if you don't celebrate holidays, then, good day? Is that what people say sometimes? What's up? Yeah, so this week we have a very special theme and guest on. We have James Rankin, who I met at Ohio University through the RHT program. Really funny guy, and just kind of goofy, but I mean, so am I. What are you gonna do? But he's gone through some stuff, and I think this episode brings up some points that we can all relate to about self-confidence and self-esteem, and I think it really prompts, I don't know, it at least recently for me has been a big deal to trace back where my mental issues come from, and obviously there's some diagnosed mental issues, which is what he's talking about with his body dysmorphia and other serious mental illnesses. But I think in general as well, if you have things that are making you stressed out or making you anxious or depressed, or that you just keep running back in your mind, I think it's really important to kind of track that down. And I mean, this episode we get into some other methods and ideas onto why and how that affects people, and how to get to the bottom of it and what you can maybe do to get around it. And so yeah, it's very gooey and emotional, but again, it's James, so we're just goons. And also we recorded in a car first time because we just had to, because we're ballers like that. It was all very interesting. But so that's why the audio sounds the way it does, but I mean, you can still get the content from it, and I think it's still good. So yeah, without further ado, James Rankin. Rankin.
That's my name.
Spankin' Rankin. How much?
Alright.
How much did that play? All right, we'll get into that. How much that played into everything. But let's give us a little rundown here. How did you and I meet? Why do we know each other? Where are you from? All that sort of stuff.
I'm James Rankin. I'm from Akron, Ohio. I'm a pizza delivery man. Not by choice, but by necessity.
Right.
I met Steve in college. We both, hospitality majors.
Right.
So, that's the goal eventually, but
yeah, because
of COVID and stuff, the people need their pizza, and I'm the man to bring it.
I think the pizza industry is more...
Oh, we're killing it, dude.
Necessary, right?
Yeah, I'm on the front lines. People don't like to say it, but pizza delivery guys are on the front lines.
Very, very essential.
Yeah, we're an essential worker, because, people need their pizza.
You think pizza delivering is, what, the stripping for girls? For guys, is well, you can always be a pizza delivery guy.
Dude, I don't know.
Girls can always...
Maybe.
No, I heard that, but they're yeah, the military is for men what stripping is for women.
It's like how horse girls and car guys are basically the same thing. Yeah. Just opposites.
True. I didn't even think about that.
Girls who do the equestrian thing,
right.
They're super into horses.
Yeah.
They act all country.
Yeah. No,
and then you have guys who are way into cars.
Yeah.
And they act all fix it, redneck, that kind of thing. It's your dad's a lawyer.
Your dad's a lawyer. I'm sorry, bro.
You have a mechanic. You don't need...
And this is why we have to admit that there are differences between men and women. So we can make fun of them equally.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Because I think horse girls and car guys are I kind of hate them a little bit.
I mean, they're doing their thing. I don't respect it at all.
Yeah.
I don't like them. I don't think I don't want to see or meet any of them ever.
No, I just kind of hate them. And I have zero reason to hate them, because nothing they do affects my life in any way. I'm cool on that. That's a hobby that I just don't want to involve myself in at all.
But anyways, going back to it, we met each other a while ago.
Yeah.
We did. A couple of years ago in class. We just hit it off because we'd seen each other once before.
Yeah.
And I thought you just looked like a recognizable cartoon character. I don't know. And so just immediately, I'm just a cartoon character myself.
You're just a goon, Steve.
I agree.
You're just a goon.
I know.
That's it.
I try to goon out every once in a while.
A little goof, a little gaff, a little gooning.
But anyway, so tell me, James, did you used to be a fat piece of garbage? Or?
I did used to be a fat piece of garbage.
All right. Nothing against fat people, but you specifically.
Oh, no. The issue really is that my brain still thinks I'm a fat piece of shit.
Oh, okay, sure.
It's not so much that, I was, because who cares?
Right.
It's just that it still lingers in my head.
Yeah.
After this whole 6 year,
of being skinny.
Up and down roller coaster journey of losing weight and getting healthier.
And then gaining it all back.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry. You look good now, though,
No, yeah, I work out a lot, so I'd hope so.
So you refer to yourself as Fat James, right?
Yeah, Fat James is this meme. Because because I was a weird kid, especially in middle school. I had.
So were you fat like as a child? Like when did you start noticing that you were more overweight than?
Well, I always had a hard time being active because I have like chronic headaches and migraines.
Sure.
And those would flare up when I would exercise.
Yeah.
So like we'd be playing like capture the flag in elementary school or something, and I'd be fun. I'd be having a good time at it. But like my head would start hurting, and then I couldn't really. It was hard for me to run because it would just be pounding.
Man,
and
couldn't even get into kickball, bro.
I was also just kind of bad at it. Like I didn't really have motor skills until a few years ago.
That's fair.
So like I wasn't the last one picked in kickball, but I was definitely not the first.
Right.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And I always wanted to be pitcher because then I didn't have to do much.
I could just stand in one place.
I could stand in one spot, roll the ball.
Can we just talk trash about pitchers for a second? They just stand in the middle of the field. Everybody else just circles around them.
Yeah, but
pitchers
like baseball and softball, pitchers are super important.
I know. I was just fucking.
But in kickball,
obviously, pitchers are important. Yeah.
Kickball, they're useless. So I was out of shape, but I wasn't like one of those big kids you see where their mom, only feeds them Pepsi.
What are we having for dinner tonight, Mom?
Pepsi.
We're
having
having
Pepsi and chips.
Open your mouth. Here's some salt. Just the salt.
Yeah, just sodium and sugar. Just eat it so you shut up and I don't have to worry about it.
One time when I was a kid, my cousin gave me a handful of sugar, and she was like, "Oh, dude, it's sugar. We're gonna eat it while watching this TV show." I'm
just
like,
a handful of like granulated sugar.
No, and I put my tongue on it. I was like, "Oh hell yeah!" And it was salt, bro. It was fucking, dude. I was so pissed off. That was mean. That was just mean.
My sister and I used to play a game where it was like salt water and sugar water, and you switch them up, and then one of you would get sugar water, the other would get salt water.
Sounds like a terrible game.
It was.
I don't even think I would want to drink sugar. We were bored.
We were really fucking bored. That's all I can say about that.
I understand. But anyways.
Yeah, I wasn't like a super active kid, but I also wasn't one of them. Like, I wasn't a big kid. I was a pretty normal kid. I just couldn't be as active as the other kids because of my head.
Sure.
So like.
So you noticed that, but you didn't feel that different.
No, because I was also a kid. Like, who cares? Right. When you're fucking 8. You haven't hit puberty yet.
Right.
You're just kind of a child.
Yeah, you're just
You don't care.
Right.
You don't care what you look like.
You don't even know that you're supposed to look like anything.
You don't know. Yeah, you don't know anything. You're a fucking baby.
Every time you see a mirror, it's like the first time. You're like, what? That's fucking me?
I mean, to be honest with you, every time I see a mirror, it is the first time. But that's a whole... We'll get into that.
That's a whole different thing.
That's a different thing.
Yeah. So anyways, but then what age did it start, like, becoming apparent?
I remember back when I first started hitting like puberty.
That's fair.
I was kind of a late bloomer. Like I'm really, like over the past few years, it really feels like I actually hit puberty. But obviously, you start when you're like 11.
Yeah. Give
or take. So I had like a full bush when I was 10, but I didn't have armpit hair until sophomore year of high school.
Yeah, you had the whole thing.
Yeah, it was weird.
I remember that. It was a fun process, though. For like, dude, I have 3 armpit hairs, bro. What?
I don't even remember that process. I just remember being like, it was almost like it all
What
grew.
is wrong with me?
It all grew in like one day, like Teen Wolf or some shit. Yeah. Where it's like one day I was completely
It was a full
bald.
moon and your dick's like...
I was completely bald, and then all of a sudden there was just a normal amount of hair, and I'm like, that's weird.
That's weird.
I didn't see that yesterday. But yeah, I was like again, I wasn't big. I was just like a little more out of shape than the other kids.
Right.
And it just really bothered me. And I remember sucking in my stomach, which I didn't really have that big of a stomach because I was a child.
Yeah.
And like wasn't in bad shape. I remember sucking it in literally all day.
Really?
All the time.
Just walk. How's it going?
It wasn't that deep. Like I wasn't like really trying to make it as skinny as possible. I was just bringing it in a little bit.
Just kind of like flexing a little.
A little bit, like just like tightening my abs a little bit so that I didn't look so pudgy.
Right. Which is almost a workout in itself.
Oh yeah, no, that's the only reason I have like somewhat abs now.
Yeah.
Is because the last 6 years
I've just been
tensing my abdominals for hours and hours. It was kind of this weird thing because looking back, I had this fucked up haircut that was like, anyone I know who knew me back then is screaming right now because that is the worst way to describe that haircut. It was atrocious.
It was bad.
It was bad.
Really?
Like it was almost like a mullet, but not.
Oh man,
like I basically
you didn't even get the mullet?
It was basically like I had a normal haircut and didn't cut it for 3 years. I almost had like a really shitty Bieber like cut.
Yeah.
Like maybe freshman, sophomore year of high school.
Just more ghetto.
But it was fucked up because my hair doesn't lay like that.
Right.
My hair is curly and it puffs up.
Yeah.
The longer it gets, the more like Jufro it gets.
Yeah.
So I had this. Oh god, it was weird. So looking back, it's hard to believe that I really gave that many shits about how I looked. Because if I had that messed up haircut and like
once you start realizing you're different, or like that, I think that's just a part of puberty is realizing like, all right, there's some weird looking motherfuckers out there, you know, and like I might be one of them.
You might be one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to come to that conclusion yourself.
Right. And I think that's almost important in a way, because if you don't consider yourself to be a weirdo, then like you're right off the bat, you're like, yeah, I'm the shit. You know what I mean?
Fuck
like,
you.
Yeah.
You're goofy.
Well, I think most people go through that period where they're like, all right, am I different? Like, I am different, and then, like, figuring out why you're different.
Yeah,
that's the scary
part. You gotta figure out why you're
without
different.
judging yourself. That's what we didn't
Exactly.
understand as kids, though. We just judged the shit out of everybody.
Because everyone wanted to be...
We're like, oh, James, the almost chubby guy with the weird-ass hair, for like, you know, I don't know. You just... That's just how...
And you make, like, a personality around who you want to be, but it's fighting with who you are.
Yeah.
It's the whole puberty is this constant struggle between your brain and like
between good and evil.
Basically, yeah. It's like this
War
epic
and peace.
struggle between
God and the devil.
Damn right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I didn't start getting like actually kind of big until I like maybe sophomore year of high school.
Yeah, you said there's a specific like story.
Yeah, I would like walk to the Circle K every day as like a thing just for fun because I had a weird home life and I didn't want to be home.
Right.
So I'd find ways to spend time away from home.
Sure.
And there's like a Circle K like a mile or two from my house. So I just walk there, listen to music. I'd usually get like a slushie, maybe like a Reese's bar or
Classic.
something.
Do you get the Coke slushie?
Depends on the day. The Coke one was good. The blue raspberry one slapped.
Right.
But this slushy thing just became like a routine. Because I'm kind of like a routine guy.
Yeah.
I like doing different activities, but if I could allocate time in the same way every day, like I do this for around this amount of time, and then I come home and then have free time. And maybe I do different things. I might watch YouTube, I might play a game, but I want to do the same basic thing every day.
Right.
That's just when I feel most comfortable.
It's like structure, yeah.
Yeah, it's more like structure than a routine.
For sure. And we'll get into that, too.
Yeah, so that slushy thing just became...
Part of
my structure, part of my everyday after
and that
school.
Structure almost becomes, you attach yourself to it.
Yeah,
so
like
it just becomes like a need, you know?
And it almost became like a personality trait.
Yeah,
like people would see me with a slushie all the time.
Oh, they'd be like, oh, there's the slushy kid.
Yeah, the slushy kid. That was a thing sometimes.
Damn. And you looked like a slushie?
Well, the thing is, that's an extra, 1,000 calories a day.
Right.
That's the issue.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So, come junior year of high school, I'd been doing this for a year and a half at this point.
Right.
I already ate like garbage. Plus, I was doing the slushy thing.
Yeah.
So that's me. Now I was looking at probably 3,000 calories a day at a normal amount. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that I was eating so much. It's just all the food I was eating was so calorie rich.
Yeah.
I was eating a normal person. I wasn't gorging myself or anything.
But the food you would eat.
The food I would eat was so sugary and
mac
garbage.
and cheese or...
Yeah, dude, carbs.
Chicken nuggets.
Damn right. But,
do you have a favorite food from your memory? Like a guilty pleasure food?
A guilty pleasure?
Yeah.
Honestly, just greasy bullshit.
Just greasy bullshit.
It depends on the day.
Well, I just meant, specifically from that time period.
From that time, slushies, dude.
Slushies?
Just slushies, man.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know what it is, but I just fucked with them.
Right.
I still do, but I'm 3 years dry.
I'm 3 years sober of a
I'm serious. We'll get to this in a second.
Yeah.
To finish my story, I was, junior high school was around the holidays. I had just broken up with this girlfriend I had.
Sad.
Yeah, it's whatever. It wasn't working. And I was at this, my family friend, they invited me to this Yom Kippur dinner, I think. Mm-hmm. It was some Jewish holiday.
And
there was just a scale in the bathroom. And I was just a scale to weigh yourself. There was nothing malicious in my head. I was just genuinely curious.
Well, that's always fun,
I was just I wonder how much I weigh.
Yeah.
That'd be
especially when they're shiny scales or you get to see numbers and lights flash.
Yeah, it was one of those class ones with a digital.
Ooh, yeah.
So I'm just that looks fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hop on the scale.
Right.
The issue really came up when
you saw the number on the scale.
Yeah, because if you had asked me how much I weighed,
Yeah.
Like, just if I had to guess, because I hadn't weighed myself in years. We didn't have a scale, and I didn't really care.
Right.
If you had made me guess, 200 would have been like the max.
Yeah.
I would have been like, I'm probably like 190, 200 pounds. Because I knew I was heavy, but I knew I wasn't big.
You're only 5'8" at this point, right?
I was like 5'8", 5'9", probably.
Okay.
Well, I stepped on the scale, and it was like 240 something.
Ooh. Ooh.
I don't remember the exact number, but it was like 43 or 44.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this whole facade I think my brain had just shattered. Like you broke a mirror.
Damn.
It's like I had.
It was one moment.
It was like the
that?
first time that I looked in the mirror and like objectively saw who I was.
Wow.
Because I think for years, and I still kind of struggle with this, is that you have an idea of what you look like in your head.
Yeah.
And it could be completely different than what you see
in the mirror
or what other people see.
Yeah.
Like, you ever seen a video of yourself and you're like, I look weird, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Where you see a picture of yourself and be like, is that me?
Is that me? Yeah,
and everyone is like, yeah, that's you. That's obviously you.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
But if you don't recognize it at first, that, like, it's because you think of yourself as a little, like, you look different in your head.
Yeah.
And I think mine
well,
is
especially,
just,
like, I mean, the younger you get, I feel like the more your imagination works in a little bit more,
oh, for sure.
and you're more moldable by everybody else around you, so your perception becomes like, oh, I look like this. And then, but
you might not look like this.
You might not look like that.
You might not. And the way I was seeing myself must have been, I don't remember how I saw myself. I don't know if I looked worse or better.
Well, like you said, you didn't even think about weighing yourself before that moment, so you're just like, oh, I'm probably all right.
Yeah, I didn't really care. I was just a guy. I mean, I was self-conscious, but it wasn't like...
About being fat.
No. Like, I was self-conscious, just like, I wish I looked better, and I knew I was, like, getting bigger, and, like, I wish I was more active. And it was more so... I wanted to be healthier than really just, I wish I was pretty, I wish people thought I was pretty.
Yeah.
It was really more so, I just wanted to be healthier.
Sure.
And sure, I wanted to be pretty. Everyone wants to be pretty.
I would love to be pretty.
That wasn't my focus at the time.
Yeah.
Because I'm a teenager, I'm a band nerd in high school, who cares?
Right.
But, this whole facade I had, for what I guess I looked like, completely shattered.
Right.
In that one moment. And, like, I saw myself, and I basically went down, like, a downward spiral from that point. Like, it kind of broke me.
Yeah, was that, what, like 15, 16?
Yeah, I was probably 15, 16. 16 or 17.
Yeah.
Because it was junior year.
Like, once you start driving, I think there's a period there.
Oh, yeah, when I started
kids...
driving, you know that walk I do, the Circle K?
Oh,
I would drive.
You would just drive over there.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah.
That was, getting a car fucked me up.
Right. Yeah, I can't imagine.
But since...
that's like a period in life where, again, it's those hormones kick in even more.
Dude, hormones are fucked up.
Dude.
Puberty is fucked up.
Puberty is fucked up.
Every teenager I've ever spoken to, like, it's hard for you to tell them, like, hey, high school doesn't matter, and everything you've experienced in your life so far is bullshit, and it doesn't count.
It doesn't count at all. And
because that's their whole life.
Right. And it's just that,
you remember high school? High school was your world.
Yeah, and I feel like your mind is just more powerful back in the... I don't know, like I said, it's not more powerful, but it's more unchanged or, like, less molded or, like... There's not as many boundaries that you've set in your mind.
I guess.
And so it just becomes like your mind can go in any... I don't know. I also...
No, I kind of get what you're saying.
I overthink all the time. So, like, in high school, it just ran rampant with...
Oh, I bet it did.
Like, because I was like, well, this person thinks that, and like, well, I bet this teacher doesn't like me, and like, nobody's even talking to me.
No, no one even cares.
Yeah, nobody even cares.
Fucking exist. I think, you know that whole main character meme? Everyone in high school is the main character.
Yeah.
In their head.
That's true.
They live in some fucking teen comedy, or teen drama.
Yeah. And that's why Euphoria is good, because it encapsulates, like, the idea that it's all about you in high school.
Yeah. And it's like, you can't tell high schoolers, like, oh yeah, none of this shit matters.
Yeah, you can't say that to them.
It's like, hey, when you're my age, like, you're going to look back in high school and be like, that was stupid. Like, I didn't give a fuck about any of that.
Yeah.
But you do. And you can't tell them that because they'll lose their mind. And I was I guess, that's when it really fucking hit me.
Right, when you were getting into that.
I was 5'8", 240 pounds. I had, like, shitty hair. Yeah. I'm just like, what?
What do I...
Who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
And it just sent me down this downward spiral.
Mm-hmm.
good thing was I was never insecure about like my personality.
Sure.
I mean, sure, you do embarrassing things.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
everybody does.
You do something embarrassing, you regret it. You have regrets. Maybe you say something you didn't mean to say. That happens to everyone.
Right. Especially in high school, because, you're still establishing those boundaries.
You're a dumb piece of shit in high school.
Yeah.
No one is a smart, mature child. There's no such thing as a smart and mature child.
Right. That's an oxymoron.
Exactly. So, I was never insecure about my friends liking me or anything, because I had a bunch of friends and they were all close to me, and I had no worry in my head that they don't like me for whatever reason, or they were fake friends. That was never an issue for me.
Right.
It was solely what I looked like.
Yeah.
And it was violently like. My self-esteem was garbage.
Right.
And it still lingers.
That's interesting, because, like, I was definitely very, like, self-conscious back in the day, and like I said, I overthought everything. But it was in a completely different way. Like, I didn't think, like, it was still, I knew my personality was, I don't know, like, I had something, but I didn't know, like, what it was or how to channel it or anything. So a lot of my self-esteem would come from, like, an anxiety. It was just social anxiety, like how to talk to people and, like, and so, like, with my body, I was pretty comfortable for the most part. I mean, I was skinny, but
who cares?
Yeah, like, you're allowed to be skinny in high school.
You're allowed to be fat. Like, it doesn't
That's true,
really
yeah.
matter.
Exactly, yeah.
It's just this thing, because bodies, beauty standards and that kind of thing. It's just people being stupid. I mean, like, if you're 5'9", 240, you should probably lose weight just for your health.
Just for the sake of your well-being.
But you should do it for yourself.
Right.
And to live.
And not to fit into, like, a
Yeah, it shouldn't be
clique.
because you want to be pretty or you want to fit into a group. You should just do it for yourself. And I was doing it to be pretty.
I don't know. I think if you want to hang out with the football guys, it's a pretty valiant effort to try to lose weight for them,
I mean, if you have a goal, you have a goal.
You have a goal,
You always shoot for the stars.
They were pretty cool, you know what I mean? They were pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, the cool guys in high school, for sure.
Yeah.
Those existed.
And so what did that journey, like you said, that you kept spiraling, but you had your friends, right? So then at what point did you, like, there must have been a rock bottom, right? Or is there, like, more before that?
There's not really. I never really hit a rock bottom because only looking back did I realize I had, like, serious issues.
Yeah.
Because I tried to self-diagnose, like, an eating disorder after the fact, but there's a name for it. It's just an eating disorder that, like, has... Because there's, bulimia and binge eating and, anorexia and all those. They're like specific categories, and they have slightly different differences between people.
Yeah.
I had eating disorders, but it didn't fall into any of those categories.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't eat for a long time. When I did eat, I would eat a ton. So that's anorexia,
binge,
and then binge eating.
Yeah.
And then I would purge sometimes by making myself throw up.
Really?
Yeah, so that's bulimia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was basically had a minor case of 3 separate eating disorders.
You were the America of eating disorders, the melting pot of,
basically.
of eating disorders.
And they have a name for that. It's like non-categorized, blah. I don't I'm not a fucking doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
But, so I was suffering from those. And in my head, I'm just like, I'm losing weight.
Yeah.
Because I lost a ton of weight. I lost like 100 pounds in like a year and a half.
Damn.
Because between junior year of high school and my freshman year of college, I dropped from 240 to 140.
Shit.
So that's straight up just 100 pounds in a year and a half.
Right.
Which is an absurd, unhealthy amount of weight to lose.
Oh, yeah.
In a year and a half.
Did you go to the hospital?
No, because I was never in that bad of health, because I never got that skinny.
Yeah.
And I still ate vitamins, and I ate an okay amount. Like, it was enough that my body didn't want to die.
Yeah.
It was enough that I had energy throughout the day.
Sure.
Which is why I never thought I had a problem.
Yeah.
But looking back, that is not even slightly okay. I probably
well,
stunted my growth.
High schoolers' bodies are, like, super resilient, too.
That's true, because you're young.
Yeah, I knew a guy, at least his senior year, probably before then, too, but he would eat, like, Raising Cane's, for pretty much
the chicken tenders?
Yeah, for pretty much every meal. Like, he would go there, buy it for dinner, and then eat the leftovers for lunch or something. And those were, like, 2 meals a day.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, I just ate Slushies and garbage, so I can't judge.
Yeah.
I can't judge.
Right.
My first step was just cutting out Slushies. Mm-hmm. I lost like 30 pounds.
Damn, really?
Just off...
Slush.
Just off going dry.
Slush, yeah.
Just off cutting the slush.
Slash the slush.
Yeah, no, I got rid of those. I lost like 30 pounds, and then my eating disorders got worse. I wouldn't eat. I'd eat like max 500 calories a day.
Damn.
Yeah, I probably stunted my growth because everyone, like, my dad's side is, like, all above 6 foot.
Really?
And I grew a few inches, but I probably should have grown a lot more.
Yeah, because you're like 5'11", right?
Yeah, I'm like 5'10" and a half, I think.
But your hair adds a few inches.
Oh, with the hair, yeah, I'm 6 foot with the hair.
Yeah.
But, you know, my dad's 6'2", and he's the runt.
Yeah.
You know, his brother's 6'4", his other brother's 6'5".
That's crazy.
And the doctors were always like, yeah, you should be about like 6 foot.
Huh.
And I was like, that's cool. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And I did have a growth spurt during that period, but it was only a couple inches.
Right.
And it very well could have put me past that if I was like eating and my body had the fuel to grow.
Right.
Because it was growing out of spite. It was like trying to grow, but it couldn't because it didn't. I wasn't giving it the fuel it needed.
It's trying to like stretch through like just slush and like
it's like this is garbage
and like oh Jesus. Yeah. All right, we're just gonna stop here, bro. We can't keep going.
Yeah, we can't keep going.
What's wrong with this shit?
But yeah, so looking like in that time, I didn't really think I had a problem. Mm-hmm. And I remember my friend London, who's shout out London.
Yeah.
I know he's been like kind of my best friend since like 3rd grade.
Okay.
So we've been real buddy bud for like 15 years.
Mm.
I remember when I was about to go to college, like that summer before, he was like, "Dude, are you okay?" Because like it basically looked like I was wasting away.
Really?
Because I was such a big dude, and then I lost 100 pounds in a year. Like,
yeah.
So I just started looking like shrinking, and I wasn't really exercising. I was running a little bit.
Uh-huh.
As like punishment for myself. It was not like I'm gonna run and be healthy. It was fuck you, you fat shit, go run.
Yeah.
Which I'm still guilty of sometimes.
Right.
But,
I mean, sometimes you need that voice, but when it's constant, and that's the only reason.
When it's constant, it's so toxic.
Yeah. No,
when you work out or exercise as a punishment for either eating or being the way you are, that's
not a good habit to get into.
No. If someone ever told me that, I'd be like, oh, honey, let's talk, because that's not okay.
Right.
But
it did kind of help you a little bit in the moment, right?
In the moment, sure. But, oh my God.
Yeah, that's not good.
And again, looking back, I was wasting away, basically.
Yeah.
And there was no end in sight.
Sure.
And then, probably, sophomore year of college, I started hitting my, second wave of puberty.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I honestly...
That's when I got the beard.
Yeah, the fucking trash stash.
Yeah.
But I really just started filling out.
Sure.
I felt the most mature I had.
Yeah.
I was having these life experiences.
You got a little cute.
I got a little cute.
Yeah.
I'm definitely cuter now than I was as a sophomore in college.
Yeah.
I was filling out. My body was growing up. I was growing up.
Yeah.
It was just a better time.
Sure. No, I agree. Sophomore year.
And a lot of my eating disorders and all that stuff, it kind of stopped.
They slowed down.
They slowed down significantly.
Sure.
I started eating.
I actually ate things.
I started eating food.
Yeah. You know that thing you do that everybody needs to do to survive?
Yeah, that you need to do every day or you're gonna fucking die. Yeah, I started doing that.
Right. And
after a year
that probably
and a half.
felt good.
Oh, it did. And that's when I honestly started feeling more comfortable with myself.
Sure.
Even if I wasn't super happy with where I was,
yeah,
I was more comfortable with myself, and I didn't have this raging hatred for my face or my body or anything. It was just it is what it is. Let's try to make it better, maybe.
Yeah.
I finally hit this point where I was like, I don't absolutely hate myself.
Yeah.
The issue with that is I still suffer from body dysmorphia. Sure. Because if you were a big boy and it affected you greatly, even when you lose 100 pounds, and then I'm 180 now, and so I lost 100 pounds and then put on 40 and basically straight muscle.
Really?
Basically, yeah.
Just from
working out, and eating food.
The protein.
Yeah, the proteins, bro.
The proteins, yeah.
Cooking gains. Yeah. No, so I really filled out my frame.
Sure.
And I'm in the best shape of my life.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But every day, you look at yourself, it's hard not to see
the fat
5'8", 240 kid.
But eating a slushie.
Drinking a slushie, bro.
Yeah.
It's so hard not to see that.
Because you just, grew up.
It was such a formative time and such, a traumatic experience that I personally went through. just how much I hated myself.
Yeah.
How much I wanted to change. How much I didn't want to be who I was.
Yeah.
And again, this was
that's
all...
I think that's important, though. I think, like, you have to go through a period where you hate who you are and, like, what you look like.
It humbles
maybe,
you.
Yeah, maybe not as much as you did. I don't know. It sounds like you tortured yourself.
I did.
But I mean, I was also pretty hard on myself, too, back in the day. And, like, was always trying to, like, change my style or, like, run or, you know.
Yeah, but at that point you were, like, if you're talking about high school, that just means you were experimenting.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
weren't sure who you were yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you were just trying to figure it out.
Well, in the sophomore year, I started
yourself
regularly, like, working out instead of just occasionally, like,
yeah.
just doing it as much as possible.
It's so important.
But I mean, I've talked about this with a buddy, but it's like the fact that we've had these things that we were self-conscious about, like I had acne pretty bad in high school too. So I was, and like if I'd have just acted normal, it wouldn't have been weird. But I was like very self-conscious about it.
Yeah.
So people could tell, you know, and I like reflected. But the fact that you like have something like that, or you're short, or you're fat, or whatever, kind of pushes you later, like when you're a sophomore, to be like, all right, well, I kind of like I'm not that handsome, I'm not that cute, but I can,
that cute.
Yeah, but I do what I can to like try to be cute.
Honestly,
you know what I mean?
You just need to. At some point in your life, it doesn't matter really when. Yeah. You just need to accept who you are.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's some things you can change. You know, you can change how fit you are.
Yeah.
You can change, you know, how active you are. You can change this. You can change what clothes you wear.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're still who you are.
Who you are, for sure.
You can think people can change,
yeah.
but they don't change that much.
Right.
In my opinion, like I'm a lot different than I was even like 6 months ago after all this shit.
Oh yeah, it is like almost a year now, actually.
Yeah, basically. It's just of all COVID and my mother passing and working 80 hours a week. I'm a completely different person now.
For sure.
But really, am I?
But yeah, like somebody who met you like a year ago, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's James."
Yeah,
you know?
like anyone you talk, like we hung out for the first time in months.
Yeah,
like
that's
today.
true, and we still.
Am I that different?
Yeah, not really.
Exactly, but I'm drastically different.
Yeah, I think a lot of us feel really, like, I feel completely different after, like you said, like, I mean, I did the warehouse, I went through some of the most, like, the deepest emotional trauma I've been through, and, like, seeing the riots and shit like that.
Oh, dude, it was fucked.
Yeah, no,
This has been one hell of a year.
Yeah. But what I was trying to say was, so, like, if you had something, like, but there was people in high school who just were handsome, or like were and they don't have that. Well, it takes them a little bit more to realize that you have to have that drive to become better. You know, like if I wasn't super self-conscious about my acne, I never would have tried like growing a beard and like maintaining a beard, or like if I'd have been if I wasn't super skinny and self-conscious about that, I wouldn't be like working out and try to there's just things that kind of they push you a little bit more to become better. And so I think it's almost an advantage to have something to be... Like, you should go through a self-conscious period because it makes you, just view yourself from a different light.
I mean, all those kids in high school, that were the quote-unquote popular kids.
Yeah.
Because I think those high school movies with all the cliques are a little bit silly.
Yeah.
They got the popular kids and the football...
Don't forget the goths.
That's not really a thing.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not at all.
There's no such thing as the popular kids.
Right.
But, if you were to pretend there were... Those were the kids who just hit puberty earlier.
Right, that's true.
Tell me they were just the hot ones.
Right.
Because they were the most grown up at that point.
Yeah.
They were the ones who hit puberty
I didn't even think about that, yeah.
No, yeah, I filled out in college. They filled out like junior year.
Early, yeah. So they didn't, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, the fact that, like, for you, that was such a big moldable period and you still think about it like that, like, imagine...
Not having it.
Yeah, just not having that. What do they experience on a daily basis?
Maybe it's in middle school when they experience that. Because I remember in middle school, like I cared a little bit, but it wasn't bad.
Right.
Like I didn't give that many shits.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's true.
So maybe they went through that in middle school.
Yeah, I guess.
Because puberty happens basically the same for everyone. I mean, different times, different things happen, but it's the same process.
For sure. Huh. Well. I don't know. Good for them.
Yeah. No, but back to... it's just hard not seeing yourself the way you actually are.
Sure.
And I'm someone who prides myself on being able to be objective and kind of down to earth. And, like, I know if I'm feeling this way, I can identify why. It doesn't help that much, but I know why I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
So I don't lose my mind over it.
Right. And that's where self-awareness is really important.
Yeah. I'm just really self-aware.
Sure.
To a fault sometimes.
To a fault sometimes.
But it's really hard to get that past, you know, body dysmorphia and that insecurity that really just lingers from a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
Because no one was bullying me, really. It was all self-imposed.
Yeah.
No one came up to me and was like, "You're ugly, you're fat, you're this and that." I said that to myself.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just projecting it. Since you think you're fat, so you think other people are thinking that you're fat the whole time you're hanging out with them.
But probably no one even fucking noticed.
Yeah, or, I mean, it's the same way, like, somebody told me once, like, if you have acne, it's like, you kind of notice it for a second on somebody, and then you just go back to looking at their face, like, as a person.
Yeah, you'd be like, "Oh, they broke out, who cares?"
Yeah.
That affects me.
They're like, "Oh, they're a little chubby," but then you just keep talking to them like a normal
who
person.
cares?
Yeah.
Like, you're not blind, but you're not, it's not filling your mind up.
Right.
Yeah, it's just really hard to get past that, and people ask me for advice sometimes, because for some reason, I couldn't tell you why people try to confide in me with, like, things.
Yeah.
Like, I've had people tell me things they haven't told anyone before, and my first thought is, why me? That's strange.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to keep your secret, so maybe that's a good reason, but...
Yeah, you just got one of those faces, James.
I just have a trustable face.
Yeah.
It's like, you look trustworthy, you're kind of insane.
No, it's just because you know, you're like a genuine guy. Like, you had those self-esteem issues, and then you, like, talk about them with people, you're like Fat James is a meme to you, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, this guy's cool, like, he can talk about his insecurities, and, like, so people want to tell you their insecurities and shit that they have gone through.
Yeah, especially recently, I've been super open about, you know, my body dysmorphia and my eating disorders that I survived, because there are way more people than you think. Especially in, like, this social media era, where everyone's projecting, like, this, you know, perfect life online in a lot of ways. I'm trying to find a good way to say this.
It's okay.
Just
think about it.
Like, with this whole social media era, it's just really hard to look at things objectively.
Because what? People only post a highlight reel of their...
It's just a highlight. My Instagram's just a highlight reel.
Right. Even if you don't put filters or anything on, it's like you chose which is the best picture.
You
with
took
like
100 pictures and you picked the one you think is the best.
Right. And I don't know. I think that's... Yeah, it's for people who aren't self-aware, that's a bad thing. Like, that can influence them. But I think if you take a second to realize that people are posting those things, and it's like, I don't know, you should be able to take a step back.
We can take a step back because you and I are, like, adults at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
Tell a fucking teenager who just started puberty to do that.
No,
they're not going to do that.
Yeah, you just feel left out and just like, why am I so fucking ugly?
Why am I this? Why am I that? And it could be completely false.
Uh-huh.
Like, I was telling you that story the other day, where I was at the bar with some girls, and she is gorgeous.
Dude, like, objectively
gorgeous.
Right.
And she looked at me sincerely, deeply. It was just a moment of
clarity and, like, real...
Like, this was a moment of huge, vulnerability for her.
Right.
And she just looks at me and says, "Am I pretty?" And it broke my fucking heart.
Damn.
Because yes.
Of course you're...
Oh my god.
Like, how do you even think that you're not? Like,
yeah, it's absurd. And it's because who knows what? Who knows what causes that kind of insecurity? Is it social media? Maybe. Is it her friends? Maybe.
Or like her family? Like her parents?
Does her, like, family do something? Like, it's so hard to pinpoint. And, you know, it's obviously probably a mixture of things.
Sure.
But the fact that people nowadays are, like, so insecure about themselves,
it just makes it worse. Like you said, it's a spiral. So, like, once it starts, it just
it's hard to stop.
It's really hard to stop.
It's hard to stop until something has to change.
Yeah.
For me, I grew up a little bit. I got more mature. I took a step back, and I'm like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I am not ugly.
So is that,
I'm
like,
not fat?
The most important thing you would want to tell people who are kind of going through that is just, like, give it some time, you know?
See, the thing is, you can't do that, though, because who knows how much they're hurting themselves.
Yeah, that's true. Like, in the meantime, like you said, you stunted your growth, you know?
Probably. I don't know. I'm not out there.
Factual.
I probably stunted my growth.
Right.
I should be 6'1" right now.
Right.
But it's fine.
I'm not salty about it.
I'm not angry.
Well, I'm a little salty.
I'm a little bit livid about it.
Yeah.
Because if I could just go back in time and tell James, like, dude, it ain't that deep.
Right.
Really
and that's where the overthinking for me always came in. Like, now I can just be like, all right, move on. You know what I mean? Just like put that thought, like it's a thought in your brain for sure, but just don't act on it. You know, I think one thing that you have to remember to do is like no matter how shitty you're feeling or like what insecurities you have, remember to come back to the basics, the things that are important.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, go on a run. You know, that is never going to be bad for you.
Running is so, I cannot stress the importance of going for a run.
Oh, yeah. For mental energy, too. You know, like...
Yeah, it's a magical human... Like, humans were made, basically, biologically, for long-distance running.
Right.
That's what we're the best at.
Yeah. Well, and let me tell you this crazy story. So I've been depressed. I was depressed probably since I was a freshman in college. And then... I mean, I'm the happiest I've ever been since I was a senior in high school,
Glad to hear that.
which is great. Yeah, it's great.
That's really great.
But
it really is.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped about it because like the whole time it was like I was happy and then I became conscious while I was depressed. You know, like you said, you mature a little bit and start realizing things, and so it felt like I had only experienced the depression. Like by the time I was a junior, I was like, dude, this is just life. Life is just shit.
But it's not.
But it's not. So
it's
yeah,
not
I didn't remember like there were periods of time where you were actually like I would be happy for maybe like a month, like over the summer.
Yeah, you'd
like,
have breaks.
You'd have breaks, but then it would just always come back.
Yeah.
And so it hasn't got like my happiness has not gone away. It feels like in probably like maybe like a month. And it seems like it's still going to be there because I have all of December off and I'm going to start a new job. And then I'll probably get shit again.
This is exciting. This is an exciting time in your life.
Right, exactly. So
you have other things on your mind other than I'm sad.
Yeah, other than I'm sad.
You know.
But so over the summer, I was like that's when it got really, really bad, like after COVID and everything. And I was just tired all the time from being depressed. But my brother was just like, man, you know, I think you need to start going for a run in the morning. And I tried running before, but I just hate running in general.
Oh, it sucks. The first 2 weeks you start running is the worst thing.
It's just garbage, for sure. But if you think about it, the way he put it, that made me like, okay, he was like, you can go, think about it, you can go for a 10-minute run. That's like a mile in the morning, just to kind of wake you up, get you going, get your heart active. And like, it honestly, I was like, all right, I can do 10 minutes. You know, that's nothing.
It's
10
minutes.
It's 10 minutes. I can do that.
So it's no time.
Over the summer, I started doing that, and I started getting like energy during the day. It was crazy, and it started making me feel because what happens is you wake up in this mental state where you're just like, fuck, bro, I don't want to be alive right now.
Yeah.
I want to just go back to sleep. Like, not existing was so easy. It was so easy for like 8 hours there.
You force yourself out of it.
Right, and you go for a run,
do
right?
something productive.
And then once you
get your hormones flowing.
Yeah, and you can, while you're on the run, you're still kind of thinking about, well, that's shit. But then once you come back, you're in the mental state where you're like, all right, well, what's next? What do I do now? Right? Yeah. Instead of just laying in it, you're just like, all right, well, I guess I got to move on. You know, I just got to keep going.
Yeah, what's next in my day?
Mm-hmm. But and so it was really good for my mental energy and health, right? But then what happened was I started getting my lymph nodes started swelling up, and I'm like, oh shit.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, well, is this COVID? What is it? Like, am I getting sick? So I went to the doctors, and they swabbed me and everything. And they were like, do you feel tired or like, achy or anything? I'm like, well, I had like a headache last week, but honestly, I feel like I've had the most energy I've had in years. And they're like, oh, really? And what happened? They're like, you've got the strangest case of mono that I have ever seen in my life.
Really?
I had mono, and I was just like, yeah, going for runs every morning, working out. I felt fine, dude. Like, it was just the fact that I couldn't breathe because of the damn lymph nodes. Yeah. But other than that, like, running probably boosted my immune system to the point, like, where I wasn't used to it because I hadn't done it in years. And it just, like, kept me going, dude. I don't know. It's really, really crucial. Like you were saying, it's a natural thing for us to run.
It's uncomfortable. It kind of sucks when you first start.
Yeah.
The second you see results,
it feels so much better.
The second you look at yourself in the mirror and you see something different.
Mm-hmm. That's that moment where you're
like, when I started working out, the first time I tensed, like, my pecs, like, I could do that now.
Yeah.
I was addicted to it.
Yeah, I was like, shit. Look at my titties go.
I'm not Terry Crews, you know. I'm not popping them back and forth, but I can, like, tense them up.
Right.
And, like, they get, harder.
Sure. The moment I can make my nipples hard, that was the most important.
The moment my nipples could perk up on command is when I got addicted to working out.
No, but I think that really is. That was a conclusion I came to when I was, like, in a moment of depression. There was, like, the answer to depression is, like, self-confidence in a way. Not really, but it definitely does help. Yeah, it definitely does help.
Because depression's trying to pull you into this hole.
Of, like, coziness and just, like...
And if you find something...
Of, like, feeling like a piece of shit.
It's like a vine. It's like a ladder. Someone throws you a rope. You just gotta find and grab the rope.
Yeah.
you're in this pit that's completely dark.
Well, and nobody's going to do it. You have to be the one to do it.
Yeah, and you're feeling around the pit for like a rope.
Yeah.
And you got to find the rope. But once you do, you can slowly drag yourself out of it.
Yeah.
And that's not the case for everyone.
And climbing the rope sucks. Like that's shit.
That's the hardest part.
Sure. But you feel like you're getting out of the hole, you know.
Yeah.
So it really is very beneficial. And like that's what I'm saying. If you tell people to work out, they're gonna be like, yeah, but working out sucks. I agree. But if you like I said, put it in a way where it's like, just go for 10 minutes, even just go for a walk in the morning, dude. Just go for a morning walk. That's why having a dog is great, because it gets you out in the morning, it keeps you on a schedule, and then you just go.
It's just hard for some people, because obviously some people have like...
Oh, easier said than done, for sure.
Some people have like that clinical depression, where it's like their brain doesn't make the hormone they need, like serotonin or whatever.
Yeah.
That you can't just fix. You probably need medication.
But I mean, the healthy stuff still helps.
It helps a bit.
Right.
But you can only do so much for some people.
Yeah.
But a lot of people like you, it didn't sound like you were clinically depressed. You were just in like a bad spot.
Yeah.
And your brain wasn't helping you.
Yeah.
Your brain wasn't helping out at all.
I agree.
So you had to force it.
Because I hated college, so that's the worst.
You were in a bad spot. You didn't want to be there. You were a little bit bummed out.
Right.
Like, a little bit bummed out.
I was a little sad boy. I was a little sad boy. Yeah, just a little depressed, yeah.
But you found a way to pull yourself out.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Just coming back to it, I think, with insecurities and feeling depressed, just anything, it's really just to remember to come back to healthy habits, because no matter what, like I said, it's going out in the sun, that's not going to be bad for you.
You need that vitamin D, bro.
You gotta get the vitamin D.
You need
the sun wants to give you its D, bro. Like,
the sun wants to D you down.
And it's the healthiest D you're ever going to get.
It's the healthiest D you're ever going to... That's facts.
Right.
It's just really hard. Like, even when... This is a fun little game, and if you're a friend of mine and you're listening to this, this is a fun game you can play. Next time you're around me, and there's like a reflective surface, try to see where I'm looking. Because I guarantee you it's at my reflection.
Hey, that's probably not good though, right?
No, it's this thing left over.
Of
that pretty much every time I see myself, it's a shock.
Really?
Like, I've seen myself, like a full body shot in the window of a fucking Target. Just my full body reflection. I'll be like, what?
Yeah.
That's me?
That's crazy.
It's not good or bad.
But
most of the times it's good nowadays.
Yeah.
Because I'm in good shape and I'm doing all right for myself.
Yeah.
But, sometimes it's still bad.
Yeah.
But it's almost like a shock to see what I look like.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every time I see myself.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that's lingered
crazy.
so long.
For sure.
It's been, what,
6
years, give or take?
Give or take.
That's absurd. Because, again, I'm a survivor of eating disorders, but, like, I wasn't an extreme case. Mm-hmm. It was a pretty solid case of it.
It was a sizable case.
It was there. Yeah,
sure.
I had eating disorders, and I had a problem, and I needed help, and I didn't get any. But there are people way worse.
Yeah.
There are people in way worse positions who hate themselves way more than I ever did.
Right.
Like,
and that's something that's like like you said, it's saying it's just an eating disorder. It's a mental health problem. Like,
it is absolutely
right.
The same way depression is, the same way schizophrenia is.
Yeah.
Like, it is a mental health issue that you need to address.
Mm-hmm. Addiction.
Addiction, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Like, it's all under the same blanket.
Right.
Like, just your brain being stupid.
Yeah, and then I think that's personally going off into a different type of thing. That's where self-exploration comes in for me.
Yeah.
Like, why are you feeling this way? And, like, that's where therapists help. They try to get you to track down where these feelings and emotions are coming from.
Therapists, their whole job is to just ask the right questions.
Yeah. To, like, get you down a certain path.
Therapists barely do anything. They give you advice. They talk to you. They don't... They seem like they're not...
Let's not downplay therapists.
No, therapists are great.
Some therapists know what they're doing.
I'm trying to say that, like, all the actual learning and work in therapy comes from you.
Comes from you, right.
They are just guiding you.
Right.
They're guiding you on that path. They're going to tell you the right things, ask you the right questions.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything
and help you figure that out. And that's why I don't think that voice will ever go away.
Yeah.
But I think the point of therapy and, like, self-exploration. So, I can't afford therapy, so I do meditation. But during meditation, I feel like I look at it from a third person. Like, why do I feel anxious right now? Yeah. Like, where is that coming from? And then, like, tracing that back down. Oh, it's from this. It's from this. It's like, if you can't, it really comes back down to, like, I had a buddy that went to therapy, and he had social anxiety, and it wasn't about fixing it or getting rid of the social anxiety, like that part of your brain that tells you that stuff, but it's being able to recognize it and then manage it and being like, and just push it to the side of your brain. Like, it's always going to be there, but
it is always going to be
there. But get it out. And I mean, it was the same way, even for, you know, moving on from like a relationship, you know, it's like, you know, that you're always going to love that person, right?
There's always going to be a part of you
that loves that person.
Loves that person.
But you just got to be able to shelf it and move on, you know?
because your life is
right. As long as you've dealt with it and processed it correctly and everything, then you can shelf it. But it's not hard. You can't just shove it away.
Yeah, you can't bottle it up.
Right.
And I'm guilty of that. You know, I had a whack-ass home life. And obviously my mental health issues. And I was never, like, really depressed, but I was never really that sad. I've always had a positive outlook on things, but I had this anger.
Yeah.
Like this repressed rage.
Right.
That would only come out sometimes. And it's usually when I was arguing with my parents about something.
Yeah.
I would, like, break things. I'd scream. I'd, like, scream till I lose my voice. It was this terrible repressed anger, and I'm not even sure who it was at. If it was at myself.
Yeah.
Like, is it because I hated myself so much? Is that why I was so mad? Was it because my parents were assholes and they kept kicking me out of the house and being dicks all the time?
Yeah, probably.
Like, there's probably a mixture of a lot of things.
Of a lot of things, for sure.
But it's just a hard thing to try to identify why you feel away. Because I don't know why I fucking hate myself so much.
Yeah.
Especially now when, objectively, I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Like, everything in my life, not everything, but I have a lot of good things going on in my life. I'm in the best shape. I'm happy. I'm tired.
You got a girlfriend?
I got a girlfriend. I got a place. We adopted a cat.
Nice.
He's cute as shit.
He's a cute little...
There's good things going on.
Right.
And it's hard to identify why do I still hate myself?
Right. And I feel like it's important in times like that to trace down why you feel like that.
And why have I hated myself so deeply for so long?
Yeah.
Like, what's going...
And then being able to... And then have you figured it out?
No, I've not figured it out.
Well, and I think the important thing is it's not just you get to figure it out and then you're done with it, right?
No, you were never done with it.
Yeah, but you have time to think about it. So when you're happy, that's something that I had to realize is like being depressed for so long. I always wanted to think about all the shit that was wrong with me, and then when I was actually happy, recently, like this past month, I've been happy. Like I can still, those thoughts still come up, but I can be like, you know what? I'm happy right now. I don't need to think about that. I'll have time when I get depressed later to think about it.
That's for later.
Yeah, exactly. So just think about the good shit right now. Like while it's not as pressing, just think about the good shit. But if you are in a place where it comes into your brain, then figure it out. Then actually take the time to think about it and figure it out.
Because you gotta do that work on yourself. No one can do that work for you.
Right.
No one can tell you why you think a certain way.
I read a book recently called like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a good book, but it talks about how it's really not your fault that you have all these problems, right? But it is your responsibility. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's, like if somebody leaves a baby on your doorstep, that's not your fault. Somebody left a baby on your doorstep, but it's your responsibility. You got to figure that shit out. Yeah, exactly. So that's what it really comes back to. Like, yeah, you're fucked up and you're sad and you don't know why, but you got to deal with that. Or maybe you do know why and you need to like figure it out even more and be able to work through it. So
it's just such a complicated subject, especially when you're not a psychologist.
Right, to talk about.
Not a psychologist.
Well, and the reason I think this conversation is important is to put it into layman's terms for people that aren't psychologists either to kind of understand and realize what they're going through. Like if somebody is feeling super self-conscious and they listen to this episode, I want to hope that it at least helps them try to become a little bit more self-aware or work towards getting better.
Because I'm not sure if it's been going on for this long, I don't know if I'll ever not be deeply, deeply insecure about myself.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll ever change. But it's just something that I live with, and I've dealt with the worst of it, I think, back during my, pubescent years.
Right.
What am I trying to say?
I think we've said it all, bro.
Honestly?
Because you have that, and then you work through it. That's kind of like the answer. Like, that's...
Yeah, but that's like such a... That's basically like saying, oh, just fix it.
Just fix it.
Just you're sad. Well, okay, be happy.
And that's the thing. It's do the things that. Well, that's what I was kind of going on before. Is like do the things that you know are healthy, even if even if you feel like shit still. I don't know, like because I mean, what did you do?
For me?
Yeah, what works for you is to just.
Well, after the tough part where I was eating nothing and then binge eating and then throwing it up and working out and running as like a punishment. Like I remember running like 4 miles. My fat ass was running like 4 miles every few days, just fucking in my head like, you fat fuck, keep running. Right. Like I was hurting, I'm panting because I don't have the fucking lungs for that. Yeah. I'm 240 pounds. I'm just like above my head. I'm like, you fat fuck, you better keep moving. It was mean as hell. Yeah. It was toxic. And then after that, after I got. So what could
you have done to get around that? To get around that toxicity?
I don't know. So because for me, it kind of just stopped. Right. Like obviously, not all my problems are gone, but I don't have an eating disorder. Yeah. I sometimes I work out as a punishment, but it's most of the time I work out because I want to be healthier and in better shape.
So I think part of it comes with time, right? Like the fact that you were putting that time in just to feel better, it becomes habitual. You know what you're saying at the beginning is like because you were doing it every day. Yeah, it was shitty for a while, but then it almost becomes like a constant in your life. It becomes like a regular thing that you're like, all right, well, I've done this before multiple times. I know how to do it. I know what to expect of myself when I'm doing it. Like, you don't have to expect, like, when you start, you're like, damn, I can't run a mile, or like 2 miles. I can't run that much. But after you start running...
Run for a couple weeks, you'll do it.
You have, like, a metric of, like, well, I can do a mile. Like, at least a mile, at least. And then that's when you start building from there. And
I think almost if you're able to get past how toxic you're being to yourself... and you start seeing improvements, you start building that confidence. Right. And you start being a little less mean to yourself because you're like, I'm making progress. Yeah. So, like, my worst times were the few months after, I weighed myself at that thing. Sure. That was the worst of it, by far. And I pretty much snapped out of it like a year later, give or take. I still have my issues, but I started eating normally, and I wasn't working out as a punishment every day. It was working out like I want to. And I think it really took drastic progress.
And that's what I was saying before, is I think the confidence is really one of the key things to helping you feel better.
I think, if you're feeling self-conscious and you hate yourself, doing little things, baby steps to build, that's the answer. That's it. We did it. You have to make terrible, difficult, struggling baby steps. Like you're dragging cinder blocks.
And it's shitty, and you don't want to do it.
And you're in the mud. Yeah. And you smell like fucking ass, and everything sucks. Yeah. But you're making a step forward.
Right. And it gets easier.
When I went running the first time, it was evil. It was shitty. Yeah. I hated every moment of it. I was evil to myself. I ended up crying afterward because it was fucked up. Yeah. But every subsequent time I ran, I was like, oh, I just ran farther than I did last time.
Yeah. Or you ran the same amount in less time, or it was easier, or whatever.
I don't know.
It was, what's that BoJack Horseman quote where it's like, the guy, he's running, and he's just like, how do you do this, bro? And he's like, I mean, it's hard, but the trick is to do it every day,
It is.
Just do it every day.
You have to take those baby steps, no matter if it's working out, or doing your job, or learning a skill, or making progress within yourself. As long as you keep taking those baby steps, I guarantee you the second you realize you've made progress, and enough progress that you're like, oh. Because, of course, every time you run, you're going to run a little bit farther. That's just going to happen, but you're not going to notice. Yeah. The first time you notice
is when it's like, okay.
That's the big one.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Like, when you run, if you run a mile, and you're like, that wasn't hard. Like, that was pretty normal. That was crazy. Like, it's different.
It just hits different.
And
for sure.
I guess that's probably what snapped me out of it, is I started noticing progress on my body, and I didn't hate myself as much. Right. The issue is really eliminating that feeling. Because I've alleviated it. Sure. But I haven't eliminated it.
Yeah. And again, hopefully it keeps going in the right direction.
Oh, yeah, it should.
So,
I mean, I'm eating healthier and working out and
yeah. So,
trying to be a lot.
But I'm glad we got to the kernel of it. You know, there was
Yeah.
I'm glad we broke it down to what we actually wanted to say.
Baby steps.
Baby steps towards it.
It's
Exactly.
mental health is a really hard thing to discuss. It's a hard thing to understand
Because there's so much to it.
because everyone's a little different.
Right.
You know, there's categories. You know, some people are sad, some people are angry, some people hate themselves, some people love themselves too much.
Yeah.
And
7 deadly sins.
and who knows how many different variations there is. You'd think about as many people there's different variations of mental health.
Right.
And it's
Baby steps.
baby steps, bro.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, thanks, James, for coming out. Looking forward to baby steps with you.
Baby steps.
Seeing how they progress into bigger baby steps.
Bigger baby
Big
steps.
baby steps.
Big baby steps.
Big baby, yeah.
That's all you gotta do, man.
So yes, I believe James and I reached a very nice conclusion at the end there, and you know, they are really serious topics, and there's high schoolers, and I know a lot of my listeners aren't in high school anymore, but there's some people who still have a lot of problems, and like we were talking about, it doesn't go away. You don't just get to get rid of it. It's there for forever. It doesn't just stop, and it's really kind of sad. But also, it motivates you to continue getting better because you know it's there, and how easy it can creep up on you. So it kind of inspires discipline a little bit. So I hope you learned. I mean, and you could get your own takeaways from it. Don't listen to me. This is just what I'm thinking about the episode. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And thanks for listening. I love you. Amen. Okay, bye.
Pickle, pickle, pickle.
Pickle pitties.
Wee.
Sibilance.
Do you know any actors who? Do you know any real vocal exercises?
No, not at all.
Because I feel like
I feel like the mouth.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, widening out your mouth.
Yeah,
Because it's literally called articulate.
Wah.
So we need to be articulate.